Expanding states of consciousness. We had an episode that I don't know if I'm going to release it before this one or after, but it's a longer version. So we talk about narrow states of consciousness. Here we're just going to talk about expanding. So, expanding states of consciousness people, they are the 5D mystics, that lovely collective, also scientists, spirituality. So, not all are mystics, but 5D is that word of oneness consciousness, Christ consciousness that we'll keep using for now, as it creates an identifier for those who are within the spirituality community. The 4D mystics actively don't know about being 4D mystics, of course, because they think that anyone who's different than they are is Luciferian era and stuff like that. So we leave narrow states of consciousness alone with their karma, which is not a bad word. It actively is not only their child self, it is a child self with a shame button, and you'll notice it because they are rigid and perfectionists, like a child who is an adaptive child who's saying, nope, humans have to do it my way. And we have a leader who says so, and the leader is, and they have all those yesterday books. And so you'll notice where they come from, like with 3D. So rigidity will share with you exactly who is a narrow state of consciousness, and that would be anyone who says, excuse me, excuse me, you're confusing sciences and spirituality. Yeah, no, Cusco, I'm not. I'm bringing them together. No, no, no. You see, I am a mystic too. Yes, that's not the reason, but good. You compare yourself to me. I see you're a copycat, or basically something along the lines of a person who doesn't know who you are. You telling me that you are like me. Am I supposed to be impressed by that? So expanding piece of consciousness know that we're one of a kind. That's why being ordinary is good, because I have a twin. You're one of a kind. Exactly. See? So that's the other part. It's not bad. It's a truth that we're ordinary and we all can be special. We all have weaknesses and strengths. So being yourself, very straightforward, right? Yes, great. Now let's do emotions. So we do emotions, which is why we build deep, long-lasting, authentic relationships, and we expand together spiritually and scientifically. Mystics and sciences come together. Polyamory, monoamory come together. Sexual and asexual and gray asexual come together, and we don't use this way of organizing ourselves like I've seen in these forums where they criticize polygamy. I'm like, what? Or that they're like, oh, but I don't want to, be in this group. I want to be in another group. So we use words to actively enjoy understanding we're different, and then we actively ask questions, and nobody's like, oh, you used the word wrong, I'm going to correct you. It's the tone. So when people care to empower, you'll hear it, because the tone will be like, hey, did you know? And really, people don't get picky like that. Yes, we are picky and selective, us expanding consciousness people, but it's for those who are fun to be around, not the ones who have sticks up their asses. The rigid, perfectionist, adaptive child is a narrow state of consciousness. Should I repeat myself again? No, I think you get the drift. Okay, good. So we talk about everything: politics, religion, lifestyle, cultural backgrounds, all of it. And whenever I've met narrow states of consciousness, I'm so sorry. Thank you so much. It's been a wonderful time. I will gladly see you somewhere. No, I don't know. I try not to, add subjective adjectives that are unnecessary. But what I'm saying is, through my bachelor's and master's years, I met a lot of facades, which is why once I got older, and then I saw that politicians throw chairs at each other and they don't know how to use rhetoric and they don't know how to negotiate. And even the ones who actively get on screen and they eloquently look eloquent as they accentuate their very words. And wow, anyone want to be bored yet? Because seriously, I'm like, you're getting older and I'm dying inside when I'm sitting here. I want to go have fun. So we have inner child adults here because life still exists. Go meet Sadhguru. He's amazing. Okay, so we actively have had beautiful conversations with people that don't correct me every second that I'm talking, with trying to interrupt me. So yeah, when you meet grown-ups, you'll know who they are, because they will be fun to be around. They also will forgive all. So unlike what you'll hear in our other episode, which is where the ones who are not ready to forgive, they, with healing, will eventually move over here and have fun with us. Until then, they want to be with their group, which is fair and square, because childhood trauma survivors have processing time to take care of what is their wounds. And that's, again, for those who want to do that. Here, we do spiritual self-help and secular, meaning that you don't have to believe in spirituality. I am a mystic. And those lovely daily mindfulness mindset practices, once we have membership content, the masterclass that will be created, they will integrate and involve a number of options. So the toolkits vary. Like with one-to-one mentorship, you can say, I only want to implement mindfulness practices with mindset and mindsight, Maria. And I can explain to you these words, but basically it's your thoughts, emotions, and you can contain all this. And it's then you hearing if I say, I spotted an adaptive child pattern behavior. I spotted a maladaptive child pattern behavior. And I use these words lightly, though, because I'm not a therapist, but I know what they mean and I know what to look for. And so when I notice structural dissociation and I share with you that, you say, okay, what is that? Oh, okay. Because that's you playing out that very unconscious, your 0 to 8-year-old. That's 0 years of age to 8-year-old, okay? And this is exactly why it's only self-aware, accountable, and regulating people that actively are mindfully growing, expanding as their state of consciousness. They own their solo self, their narrative self, relational, and core self, and they don't have the shame button because they see, soothe, and safely and securely be their self, which is why we're ordinary. They don't sit in the indecision of anything, and they don't project outer critic or inner critic. They hear the words that come out of the mouth of a person who they've decided, by the way, to work with, and or that they've decided to talk to. This is self-aware people. So you have plenty that are not self-aware. We don't do what martyrs and superiors or blamers do. Those are people for other groups. I see them all out there. They're not fun to watch. And here's where you said we're being blissful is not a goal by itself. It is just a good condition to make life's journey. It's funny to see people comment it but not know how to apply it. And not funny because it's funny. They could apply it. They don't actively put into practice being a person who says, how do I handle the emotional stuff that's coming up so that I can make peace with me and make a final decision. So they don't decide to say divine feminine, open heart, divine masculine, open mind, left and right, let's work together. And here's why the inner growth mindset supports people. Remember, please, that the first trauma is the actual abuse. The secondary trauma is not having support. So those who have healthy self-worth, we are here and we support those who are healing and ready to forgive all. So they've gotten through the anger stuff. They know what their lens is. They know how to work and they want actively to get out of maladaptive. That's where they have addictions, FYI. And really not fun and adaptive. But maladaptive is involved when we have unhealthy, soothing mechanisms. Let me get touched by a gazillion billion of people. Let me re-traumatize myself. There's a lot of stuff that goes on. And if they are healing authentically, then they have sensory motor, like with Pat Ogden, somatics in the forefront, child in the forefront, EMDR, child parts. And they don't have the people who are saying, here, I'm going to let you take shortcuts. Shortcuts don't exist for healing yourself. And knowing what it is to heal means, again, let me go and find, once your life is an expression of your blissfulness, you will not be in conflict with anyone. You don't have anger rising towards people, even when you see abandonment, rejection, injustice, humiliation, shame. What this means is that you're able to stay in an equanimous stance. This is the true spirituality. You know, when you talk about yogis, the experts, darkness, all this stuff, it's not about you being emotionless. No, you're detached in a way that is participating because you're actively in your ventral vagal state. Detachment is not the left mode. It's a left and right. Your default mode network is on. You're in your prefrontal cortex. You're not cold. You are actively alive. And in fact, the people who want that because they want to be their authentic self, they will notice. Because a person who's alive is a person who's using an open heart with a prefrontal cortex that has no trauma charges, not a safety behavior of an adaptive child that comes from a reptilian nervous system response, which in fact will be narrow state of consciousness. You'll feel that they're cold because they're actively in that rigidity that comes from a person who does not yet have access to the depths of their core. Because as long as your 16-year-old is not actively hugging your own 3-year-old and 1-year-old and saying, yeah, we're defective, no, we're not. We see, soothe, and secure and safely navigate to regulate. So you're learning how to self-regulate your nervous system. That's why sensory motor and somatics. Okay, so as Patrick Tian says, first the will to heal, then the pain, then the grief, then justice and empowerment, and then forgive if at all. Forgiveness is the caboose. It comes not first. Okay, and with that, I'll actively let us go with this one so that you can assimilate, and I'll have another episode for us in a little bit, and then I'll release the big one later on. But unconditionally loving each other with flaws and imperfections and integrity is how we heal not only trauma when those people are healing it, but we don't have it for ourselves because we take those emotions and don't stand in undecisiveness. We dive into the depths of our plane of emotional and mental, and the movement towards adventure is actively in a state of forgiveness in our own mind. You own your divine masculine because you are one with this infinite feminine that is one, embodying all, and that those different ways that the masculine can tap into infinite potential doesn't when they stay in a shame button, but they find solace with those same human beings who are leading with anger, vengeance, and their shame rigidity. And they pick them, and with those pain points, you see them. They're all here in my hand right now. I got them near a volcano. I can spot them like a hawk. They're silverbacks. Ethical cults, culty cults, traditional cults, and anyone who'll say, that's my master, how dare you? How dare you? That's sacrilege, you Luciferian person, because you're taking textbooks. Wow. So left motors, they just keep using textbooks, by the way. You'll notice they have no creativity. In fact, they treat the universe and everything as if it's going to come punish you. So you notice that the punishment is the active human being who has a shame wound. Adaptive child doesn't know that universe partner, dark matter, dark energy. Get it together, people. Sciences and spirituality. So they find it disrespectful because they don't have the right use of power. They don't have the truth of their brain. They don't even own anything yet. They're just a stagnating piece of energy who, in fact, does not like an unmarked trail. Do you know why? Awareness. The 3 pillars of the mind: focus, attention, awareness. It's maximum uncertainty. Anything that comes up, what are you afraid of? And are you bonding? And are you an agent? So when you're not your self-agent and you're not knowing what bonding is, so motivators, 3 key subcortical network areas that we have that motivate us in life: agency, bonding, and certainty. So fear is certainty, bonding is sadness, and anger is with the agency. When you're an integrated brain, you'll know how to actively use whatever your personality traits are, and that's where the spirituality comes into the mix. The people who are leading that flock, all the flock of the people who say there's no kindness in humanity, how dare you? How dare you with your imagination talk about evil? Wow. Education is what you need, but I think you don't need any more of it, as well as a lot of other of y'all. So there's soulless. Why? 3D, 4D, why do they have soulless? Adaptive children, Terry Real, come on in, are people who have a child's view of what their parents should have done, how they should have been saved, da-da-da-da-da. They have not healed their trust break. They're standing around like Braveheart. You'll notice it by their tone. They will follow a leader, and that leader will take all those old books and they'll use it. And smart people know what old books are. They're out of date. I can read some of them. Of course, I'm going to get a background, a basic. I'm going to move into what other subject matter experts are saying. I'm not disproving anything. I'm using my left and right. The only reason people don't understand how you don't disprove is because they don't know how to use the right. The right sits with all, A and B, and says, oh, they can sit all together. The left's like, no, they can't. They have to stay separate. In fact, it's not annoying. Mine's not annoying because mine doesn't rule. I got 2. I got lucky. The people that I do find annoying, yes, that's, no, you can't. You're confusing science and spirituality. No, I'm not. Yes, you are. Okay, let Cusco talk so I can keep on doing my grown-up conversation. Okay, so expanding piece of consciousness. We like to hang out with smart people. Those are stable, mature, adaptive, rational, teachable, fun human beings. Flexible, adaptive, coherent, energized, stable. So they want integration of the brain and open hearts, and they do forgive. They're already here. So they have forgiveness, and then we talk. And we do not go and tell people how to live life, and that's on all agendas. All meaning areas, not agendas. Even though our agenda is for international well-being to take place, for our lovely planet to become a securely attached planet where people can feel safe to walk the planet, so let's have our governments get together. I thought, as I had chosen a career, that they were smart people. Rhetoric is not meant to manipulate you the way these human beings in suits do, but they manipulate those very same human beings who don't take healing seriously. They say, why are you talking about trauma all the time? I find it hard to believe them first 3 years of life. You keep talking about implicit memory. It's not true. It's not true. Okay, 14-month-old, go have fun with your lollipops over there. I spotted a Pinocchio. There's some narrow states of conscience. Go to Stromboli, have fun. Yeah, you keep dating those people. They're great. Yeah, rock on. So we'll be back with more. Again, leave alone the ones who are hurt people, hurt people. They're actively with solace. Like, I don't even, we're going to make fun of them in a nice way, but we're going to make fun of them. And then the ones who are healing, they get to go to people like Patrick Jehan, if they're ever ready for gooey, ooey, ooey, and having fun with humanity and knowing that nobody's perfect and that doesn't need to require us to say asshole for real. And again, we do have assholes, but not in the way of they're assholes. We learn how to emotionally grow up thanks to empowering information from people that are subject matter experts. That's the luck we get. We get to have human love narrative here. So join us again in a little bit. And please do like, share, and subscribe. And if you're curious about one-to-one mentorship for mindset, mindsight, and mindfulness, and if you're curious about the masterclass, it's going to be a closed number. Please start writing me. Also, if you're curious about the spiritual retreat that I want to organize, please write me. Email Maria. And just put in the subject matter, whatever it is, out of all of those. And we will have Ask Maria eventually on YouTube. In the meantime, it's already available on our audio podcast, which you can follow on Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Spotify for podcasters, and like 10 more, something like that. So again, you find me pretty much anywhere. Just look up Maria Florio on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn too. Have a great day. And again, thank you for stopping by.